the hidden language of physical confidence. Every piece of advice you have ever heard about body language is technically true and completely wrong at the same time. Stand tall. Make eye contact. Don't cross your arms. Take up space. Speak from your diaphragm. These instructions are not false. If you follow them in isolation, you will probably look slightly more composed than you did before. But here is what nobody tells you, and what you will spend years learning through failed interactions if nobody names it plainly. People do not respond to your posture. They respond to what your posture is communicating about your relationship with yourself, and those are not the same thing. A man who has been told to stand tall and is consciously standing tall looks like a man who has been told to stand tall. A man who stands tall because he is genuinely comfortable in his own body looks like something else entirely. He looks like a man who belongs wherever he happens to be standing. The distinction sounds subtle until you start watching for it, and then it becomes impossible to unsee. You can spot the performed version of physical confidence in almost any social environment once you know what you're looking for. It is slightly too deliberate. The eye contact holds a beat too long. The way someone who has read about eye contact holds it, rather than the natural rhythm of a man who is simply engaged in a conversation. The posture is correct but effortful. The kind you can maintain for the first 20 minutes of a party before the self-consciousness starts to leak through in other ways. The voice is projected with just enough intentionality that you can feel the intentionality. It is the body language of a man, translating from a foreign language, technically accurate but missing the native speaker's ease, and people feel that gap even when they cannot describe it, even when they would not know how to explain why one man's presence felt settled and another man's presence felt like a performance. What this chapter is not going to give you is a new set of instructions to perform. You have enough of those already, and they have already demonstrated their limits. What it is going to give you is an understanding of the actual source of physical confidence, the interior condition that produces the exterior signal, rather than the other way around, because the information flows in one direction and one direction only. The internal state produces the physical expression. The physical expression does not produce the internal state, no matter how precisely you execute it. Men who try to reverse this flow spend years getting incrementally better at mimicking something they do not yet possess. Men who understand the actual direction of causation stop working on the signal and start working on the source. This chapter is going to show you what physical confidence actually is at its root, why the body communicates your internal reality with a precision your words can never match, and what it concretely looks like to develop the interior condition that makes the exterior expression inevitable rather than performed. The first thing to understand is that your body is not a presentation tool, it is a broadcasting system, and it is transmitting information about your internal state at every moment, whether you are consciously managing it or not. Researchers who study nonverbal communication have found that human beings make rapid and remarkably accurate assessments of other people's emotional states, social status, and intentions from purely physical cues, assessments that happen faster than conscious thought and that prove stubbornly resistant to deliberate override. This is not mystical. It is evolutionary. Before language existed, the body was the only available medium of communication, and the nervous systems of the people reading you have been calibrated over hundreds of thousands of years to extract signal from it with extraordinary precision. You cannot fool this system with technique for any sustained period of time. The body always tells the truth eventually. Think about what happens to your body when you are genuinely comfortable somewhere, when you are in your own home, among people you trust completely, doing something you know you are good at. Notice the quality of your breath. It is low and easy rather than shallow and high in your chest. Your shoulders are not raised toward your ears. Your jaw is not clenched in the particular way it clenches when you are bracing for judgment. Your movements have a natural economy to them, neither exaggerated to signal confidence nor contracted to minimize yourself. Your eyes move freely because you are not monitoring the room for threats. You take up the space you actually occupy without either inflating it or apologizing for it. Now notice how different this is from how your body behaves. When you walk into a room full of people whose opinion matters to you, when you sit across from someone you want to impress, when you are in a situation where your status feels uncertain, or your belonging feels unconfirmed. The difference between these two physical states is not a technique you can bridge with better posture instructions. It is the difference between a nervous system that feels safe and a nervous system that is running a threat assessment. Here is where the misconception lives, and it is a deeply embedded one. Most men believe that physical confidence is something you feel after you have achieved enough to justify feeling it, that you will stand differently when you're more successful, that you will move through rooms with more ease when more people know your name, that the quality of your physical presence will naturally improve as the external evidence of your worth accumulates. This is the same logic that says you will be happy when you finally get the thing you are working toward, and it fails for the same reason. The man who is waiting for external evidence before he allows himself to inhabit his body fully will always be waiting, because the arrival of new evidence does not change the underlying relationship with yourself that produced the physical contraction in the first place. It just temporarily quiets the anxiety. The next thing to achieve is already waiting in line. The reframe is this: physical confidence is not the result of achievement. It is the result of settledness. It is what happens in the body of a man who has made a decision below the level of conscious thought that his presence in any given space does not require external authorization. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud and comparative, always measuring itself against others, always needing to establish its superiority in the room. Settledness is quiet. It does not need the room to confirm anything because it is not asking the room a question. The settled man walks in already knowing who he is. Not perfectly, not without insecurity about specific things, but grounded in something stable enough that the uncertainty of the room does not destabilize his fundamental sense of himself. His body communicates this before he opens his mouth because his body is simply reporting accurately on his internal condition. You need to understand what creates settledness, because it does not arise from positive thinking or from telling yourself you are confident before you walk through the door. It arises from two things operating together. The first is genuine competence, real capability built through real effort in domains that actually matter to you, not performed competence, not the appearance of capability, but the actual felt sense of knowing that you can do things, navigate things, solve things, create things. The body of a competent man carries his competence. You can see it in the economy of his movements, in the way he approaches problems without the flinching quality that self-doubt produces. You cannot fake this. You can only build it, which means the physical work of developing genuine confidence is largely identical to the work of becoming genuinely capable. This is why men who have mastered something, anything, a craft, a discipline, a domain of knowledge, tend to carry themselves differently even in environments unrelated to their mastery. The settledness transfers. The second source is acceptance, which is the less comfortable, one to name in a chapter aimed at men who are trying to become better than they currently are. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It does not mean stopping the work of growth or deciding that your current limitations are permanent. It means that you have stopped treating your present self as a problem that needs to be solved before you are allowed to take up space. The man who is perpetually at war with himself, who is always in the middle of becoming someone more acceptable than he currently is, carries that war in his body. The tension is visible. The self-judgment leaks through in the particular quality of his stillness, which is not actually stillness, but suppression. Acceptance means occupying the man you are today, fully and without apology, while still doing the work of becoming the man you intend to be tomorrow. These are not in conflict. They are, in fact, the only combination that produces sustainable growth rather than a perpetual cycle of self-criticism. The practice that brings us into the body rather than leaving it, as an idea, is deceptively simple. For the next 2 weeks, once a day, put yourself in a physical situation where you are genuinely competent, not to show anyone, not to build a story about yourself, just to spend time in your body while it is doing something it knows how to do well. Notice what that feels like from the inside. Notice the quality of your breath, the ease of your movement, the absence of the monitoring quality that surfaces when you feel uncertain. Then carry that physical memory into one situation per day where you feel less certain, one conversation or one room where you would normally feel your body contract and your self-consciousness rise, not to perform the competent state. To remember it, the body learns through repetition of felt experience, not through instruction. Give it enough repetitions of what settledness actually feels like, and it will begin to locate that state more readily, even in unfamiliar territory. What accumulates over time through this practice is not a better performance of confidence. It is a genuine shift in your nervous system's baseline, the default physical state you return to when nothing exceptional is happening. Men with a calm, settled baseline move through the world differently in ways that cannot be itemized into a list of behaviors. They are simply more comfortable to be around. Their stillness is actual stillness, rather than suppressed agitation. Their eye contact is genuine, rather than calculated. Their voice has a natural weight that comes from breath that is actually reaching the bottom of their lungs. Women feel this as presence. Other men feel it as groundedness. Everyone in the room feels something. And what they feel is the body of a man who is not asking them to confirm that he belongs there. The body never lies on your behalf. This is the thing most men learn too late, after years of perfecting signals that their nervous system keeps undermining from the inside. You can study every piece of nonverbal research ever published, memorize every principle of dominant body language, practice every posture in every mirror in your house, and the body will still report accurately on your actual internal condition the moment the stakes get high enough, because it was built to tell the truth, and the truth it tells is not the story you're trying to project. It is the story of what you actually believe about yourself in that moment. This means the real work is never about the body. It is about what the body is responding to, the quality of your relationship with yourself, the degree to which you have done the actual work of becoming capable and the actual work of accepting yourself while that becoming is still in progress, the settledness that comes from knowing who you are clearly enough that you stop needing rooms full of people to confirm it for you. None of this is surface work. All of it is invisible from the outside, right up until the moment it isn't, right up until the moment the body of a man who has done this work walks into a room and changes the quality of the air in it, without trying, without technique, without a single conscious adjustment. The men who move through the world with genuine physical ease are not performing ease. They simply stopped performing altogether, and the body, finally free from the effort of the performance, settled into something that no amount of practiced posture could ever replicate. You do not find that settledness by learning how to look more confident. You find it by becoming someone who no longer needs to look like anything other than exactly what he is.